How did you attract or address your audience?
Before I even began to think about how I was going to attract or address my audience, I had to first establish my target audience. And before establishing my target audience, I had to choose a genre. Well, we came to the final decision that the genre we wanted to do was social realism, and I then had to look for target audience.
I created a Prezi on finding target audience, and within it I showed 4 social realism films, which is the same genre as mine. You will also see that I then went onto IMDb and researched into each and every one of these films to find out which audience most watched these films. You can see a pattern that they were all males and females under the age of 18, so this must be my target audience as well. Another similarity I found between these films was the certification
Carrying
of
out
15.
that research on other social realist films, myself and Ellie decided that our target audience would be 15 to 25 and their certification would be 15. This just makes sense because that is a target audience and also the certification for other social realist films. So social realism genres must be targeting that audience.
I then began to research into my audience.
The research I'd done was gathering people from the age of 15 to 17, which is within my target audience, and I asked them what they thought about social realism, what I expected to see in social realism, and I also showed them my rough idea of what was going to be in my film opening so far and pitched them my 25-word pitch, which is a gritty story of an outsider who believes the world is against her. Will she make changes for her future, or is she heading for disaster? Here are the outcomes of my interviews.
Social realism films?
No, because it gives a bad representation of our year group.
So what genre film do you prefer?
Comedies.
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
Teenage pregnancy and darkness.
What do you think of our idea?
I like it because it's very different to other social realism genre films.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
No.
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
A bit, as it focuses on violence, which is commonly associated with boys.
The fact our main character is a girl, does this appeal to you?
Yes, as we get to see a social realism type film at a girl's point of view, as it is usually aimed at boys.
Do you like social realism films?
Yeah.
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
Gangs and violence.
What do you think of our idea?
It's unique. Nobody's done it.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
No, it's found how it currently is.
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
Yeah, it's like you don't expect girls to be in violent situations or gangs.
The fact our main character is a girl, does this appeal to you?
No.
Social realism films?
Not really.
What genre of film do you prefer?
Comedy,
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
drugs and violence.
What do you think of our idea?
Don't really like it.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
Make it a bit more unique.
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
Nope.
The fact our main character is a girl, does this appeal to you?
Nope.
Like social realism films?
No, I don't really like violence.
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
Trouble, teenagers and gangs and stuff like that.
What do you think of our idea?
It's good.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
No,
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
no.
The fact our main character is a girl, does it appeal to you?
Yes, it makes it less stereotypical.
Social realism films?
Yeah.
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
Gangs.
What do you think of our idea?
It's a bit predictable.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
Like include shocking and unexpected scenes.
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
Yeah.
Does the fact that our main girl is a character appeal to you?
No, not really.
Social realism films?
Yes.
What do you expect to see in social realism films?
Teenagers and around down areas.
What do you think of our idea?
I really like it.
Do you think we could improve our idea, and if so, how?
No, it's perfect.
Does using a girl make it seem less social realism?
No.
The fact our main character is a girl, does this appeal to you?
Yes, because social realism is mainly focused on boys.
I am very glad that I researched into my target audience before starting to record my film opening. They have helped me think about my decision on what should be in my opening. Something that someone said of why they don't like social realism film was because it gave a bad representation on teens. Social realism does focus on teens, so they can feel that it gives a bad representation if they are affected in the film badly. The main things that people expected to see in social realism films I found from carrying out them interviews was gangs, violence, drugs, teens, rundown area and darkness. And they are all stereotypes of social realism films. They thought I had different opinions on what people thought about my idea. I got told that it was unique, but I also got told that people didn't like it because it was predictable. And one comment to improve was that I could include unexpected scenes, which I haven't included so far in my plan. I also wanted an opinion on getting the idea of using a girl in the social realism film for the main character, which you see I asked. And I got the answers back that it does not affect it. I also got the common answer that it makes it less social realism as it mainly focuses on boys, which it does, but we want to change that. Others said that it appeals to them because it makes it less stereotypical and that it mainly focuses on boys, so they'd like to see it from a girl's perspective instead of just the boys. Carrying out these interviews have made me rethink about my idea and what I could add to it. But it has helped me to understand what my target audience usually see in social realism films and what they actually think about it.
I then began to make my film opening.
But before continuing on forward and making mistakes, I thought I'd get feedback from more of my target audience to see what they liked about my film opening so far and also saw what they thought could be improved.
What's your name and how old are you?
I'm Nathan and I'm 17.
I've just showed you our progress for our film opening so far. What do you think about it, and do you think there could be any improvements?
I think that so far the film opening is really good. The characters are established well and I can see there's a story which should be told. However, I think the story needs a bit more context in it. Show actually what's happening, or why it's happened. Maybe you could show a couple flashbacks to help give the story that context, and make the film more effective and attractive to the audience by keeping them engaged, by showing cross-cutting, making it, which I think would help make a better overall film opening.
Thank you. What's your name and how old are you?
My name's Molly and I'm 17.
You've just seen our unfinished film opening and what we've done to it so far. What did you like about it and what do you think could be improved?
I liked the colour that you used, the effect that you had on it because it's dark, and it added to it, showed the genre of the film because it's really dark and gritty.
What do you think could be improved?
To improve, I really liked the cross-cutting that you did, so I think you should add some more to make it, because I think it would add more to the effect.
Carrying out these interviews were a lot more helpful than carrying out my original ones because I want to make my film opening as successful as I can in drawing in the target audience to make it a successful film. What I found from carrying out these interviews is that my target audience so far like the character establishment and the use of colour as it sticks to my genre of social realism. The improvements I got was that I should add a scene to establish the context of the story more to hook the audience better. And both people I interviewed in my target audience, they both said they liked the cross-cutting effect that I've put in my film opening so far as it is effective and that I should add more. I will take this into consideration, of course, because I want to make my film opening as good as possible. I will look at what they think I should improve and I will possibly use them. I will look at whatever one looks better and then that will be my choice. I just want to make my film opening as successful as possible, and getting audience feedback is the best way to know how to attract my audience because they're going to be the ones watching it.
We have now completed our film opening, and the final bit of research I carried out was going back to the people I had previously interviewed, showing them my final product and getting their opinions on what they thought about it. This is Nathan. I interviewed him whilst in the progress of making my film opening and he gave me points of what I could improve. I'm now interviewing once I have completed my film opening and to see what he thought.
So I've just watched Ruby and Ellie's opening scene, and it's a lot better from what it was before. All the points that I said which could be improved, they've done. So I've noticed that now the music in there really goes with the genre of film. The characters are presented well, introduced, the story is told, and overall it's a great opening scene.
Thank you.
Busy about who I interviewed before making my film opening, about what he thought about social realism films. He liked them and liked our idea. What did you think of our final product?
I liked the cross-sectioning because it made your character look very good, and I liked your portrayal of the genre.
Thanks. Ashley, who I interviewed before starting to make my film opening, I asked her what she thought about social realism films. I just showed her my final product. What did you think of it, Ashley?
I really liked the title because the colour scheme and the grittiness really fitted the genre of the film. It had a really good opening and it hooked me in.
Thank you.
Chloe, who I interviewed as part of my target audience before I'm making my film opening to see how she felt about social realism films. She was not a big fan of social realism films, but I just showed her my film opening to see what she thought. What did you think?
It was really good. The colour scheme linked with the genre, and it created suspense and drew me in because it was it just drew me in. I wanted to watch more.
Thanks. Freddie, who I interviewed before making my film opening to see what he thought about social realism films. He has just watched my final product. What did you think?
Although the cross-cutting technique confused me at first, I thought it was really effective, and the flashbacks were really interesting and made me want to watch them.
After carrying out them interviews, I have figured out that I attract and addressed my target audience rather well. Mainly using the cross-cutting technique, because it confused people but drew them in as they wanted to understand what's happening, and also the flashback used the flashback used was effective because this also made people want to watch on. My target audience felt hooked from the suspense. They think the colour linked in great. I was told that the improvements that were said were done, which made the story more effective. The music, the titles and the colours all fit the genre, and the character establishment was great. I'm happy overall at attracting and addressing my audience and how the outcome is, and finding out this from my target audience has been really helpful. I believe it is very, very, very important in finding out what your target audience think before making your film official and complete, because they're the people you want to hook into your film and want them to view it and to make your film successful. So finding out from the beginning, middle and the end what my target audience think about my film opening was very helpful and constructive for me, as it helped me to make my film opening the best it could be. And I have now attracted my target audience, and I am proud of that.